CRCL was founded in 1988 as a way to sound the alarm bells with the coastal land loss crisis. CRCL also works with several other organizations that are part of the Mississippi River Delta Coalition, made out of national and state organizations that are all working to solve the same problem. So my name is Sophia Giordano. I am the Coastal Adventures Coordinator at Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana. I got involved with CRCL as an AmeriCorps member through Serve Louisiana. I served 2 AmeriCorps service terms as the oyster shell recycling technician. I was really drawn to that position because I did my undergrad thesis on microplastics in the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. So keeping oyster shells out of landfills and the plastic pollution crisis was kind of on the same wavelength. CRCL's mission is to create a thriving, sustainable coast for all through advocacy, restoration, education, outreach, and all of our various programs. Our oyster shell recycling program was founded in 2014. It started out with a grant from Shell, about $1 million, and that funded the program for a few years. It allowed us to pick up shell from participating restaurants in New Orleans, and we took that shell down to Buras, Louisiana, which is about an hour and a half away from the city. That site is now much closer to the city. It's about half an hour in Violet. People eat their oysters at the restaurant, and then those oysters get put into bins, and then we have a recycling contractor come and pick up those bins, and he brings those bins to our shell curing site, which is our restoration headquarters in Violet, Louisiana. He dumps them out there, and then they sit for a couple months, and then we have volunteers come to the site and they bag the shell, and then we use that bagged shell to construct the reefs. We get funding for our program through various grants, kind of as most nonprofits do. We also work with Chef's Brigade, which is a mutual aid organization for restaurants. They came about during COVID, and they support our program by covering the cost for some of our restaurant partners to participate. Our oyster reefs have 2 benefits to them. One of them is shoreline protection, in that our reefs are acting as a wave break between the waves coming in and the shoreline. We've found that our oyster reefs reduce the rate of erosion by about 50%. Oyster reefs also serve as a habitat for all types of aquatic species. Oysters, when they're larvae, they float around the water column looking for some hard substrate to settle on. And that ideal substrate is other oyster shells, because they see the oyster shell and they know they can grow there. So once we put our reef into the water, the baby oysters come and they settle, and then that will attract crabs and fish and birds. And then once we put it out there, it becomes a whole self-sustaining ecosystem all by itself. Our programs help the community by supporting the fisheries industry. You know, a lot of the people that we work with in coastal Louisiana are very reliant on, water quality and habitat for these species that they're harvesting. So our reefs are supporting the industry by creating habitat and more oyster growth. And our reefs also support the community by us working with indigenous communities to protect their mounds, because we could put our reefs in front of any random spot on land, but finding somewhere that's culturally significant increases the impact that our project has. We've worked with the Grand Bayou Indian Village as well as the Pointe-au-Chien Indian tribe, both of which are protecting sacred burial mounds that are very slowly, or actually very quickly, eroding into the Gulf. So they're trying to hold on to those last bits of land and hold on to those ancestors that are buried there. So people can get involved specifically in the oyster shell recycling program by eating at our participating restaurants. You can go to our website to see the full list. You can also participate in our public drop-off. If you enjoy oysters at home with your family and friends, you could bring your oyster shells to our public drop-offs. We have 2 locations at the Green Project and Glass Half Full. We do oyster shell baggings and tree plantings and all types of really fun events, and we give out free t-shirts and lunch and anything you guys might need. CRCL has a lot of programs. The oyster shell recycling program is within the restoration program. And in the restoration program also exists our native plants program, where we plant native grasses and plants all around the coast from southwest Louisiana to southeast. We also have our advocacy program, and they advocate for policies that support GRCL's mission. And we also have our outreach and engagement program, and they facilitate our Future Coastal Leaders program, which is comprised of high school and college students that are interested in getting into the coastal field, learning more about coastal issues, and networking with others who share in their interests. We do our best to educate students because coastal land loss is a long-term problem that requires a long-term solution. So we focus a lot on educating the future coastal leaders.